Okay, so in this video we're going to be reviewing the premiere episode for The Walking Dead Season 8 titled Mercy. Feels so good to be back doing these reviews, like these in-depth reviews, and going back to the episode, watching it like 3 or 4 times and like just giving our interpretation and stuff like that. Absolutely love doing it when it comes to The Walking Dead, so let's jump right into the video. So the first thing we see is a bunch of small little scenes that we see throughout the episode. It just shows basically what happens throughout it. We've seen this already because they released it. They released the first few minutes of the episode, I think like last week or something like that, so it's nothing new to us. But they show it throughout the episode, like stuff like the old man Rick, and Rick with his eyes red like he's crying over something, or has been crying over something, and he says, "My mercy will prevail." So we're going to go over that bit first. So it's caused a lot of discussion in the Walking Dead fandom at the minute. Like, what is Rick? Because it looks like as if someone's died, and he says, "My mercy will prevail over my wrath," or something like that. So it's got to be a death, right? And people are trying to predict which death it is.
Now, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that we're gonna have these old man Rick scenes and have those scenes where Rick looks upset and stuff, and then the present day. I thought they were kind of different timelines, like they weren't all in the same timeline, but I think they are. I think the Rick with the red eyes and looking upset is after the war, and then way after the war, way ahead in the future, is the old man Rick scenes.
Yeah.
So I was thinking first they could be dreams, and they could be just one scenario could be if they lost the war, one scenario could be if they hadn't. But then after obviously watching the episode, half through the episode I thought that, but after watching the full episode and watching it again, watching Talking Dead and stuff, no, I think that, yeah, it is a death after the war. And
it makes sense because then we get to see what happens at the beginning of the war, which is what we're following right now. We get to see bits of what happens after the war, which is where Rick's crying, and we get to see like the future or what's to come for the future of Alexandria and stuff. So it makes sense that they'll put it in 3 different like timelines, I suppose. And
it's perfect for the first episode because it's the start of season 8. It's episode 100. So we're getting snips of the future, and I don't know if we're going to see any more of this throughout the season. I'm not expecting it. It's possible, but I'm not expecting it. So
the scene where Rick's basically crying over someone who died. Now this fits perfectly into what me and Dave have been saying for ages, and what many other people have been saying as well. But if you follow this channel and keep up all the discussions and stuff like that, you know that we said that we think 100% Morgan's going to die this season.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, that basically sort of confirms that there's going to be a death after the war. I mean, David said by the time it ends, Morgan's most likely dead. Like during the war, he's probably going to die, and everything this just adds to it. It adds it up perfectly.
Morgan's story is so interesting from when he started the pilot, when we first ever see him. Just he's the character that you were just attracted to. Like, this guy is showing us and Rick Grimes the world, and then seeing him in clear when he returned as this crazy son of a bitch. Like, we was all waiting for him to come back, and his story overall is just amazing, which I won't go into because it's so long. But this is a war, and he is the one who's been with Rick since the beginning. Like, he showed him to the world, like I said.
Now, if you listen to what Rick says, "My mercy will prevail over my wrath," that makes perfect sense when you apply it to Morgan and this whole thing that we've been going on about. If you want to check that video, by the way, I'll link it in the description because we go a little bit more into it. But my mercy will prevail. Rick's saying his mercy will win over his like anger, over his wrath, and his need to kill Negan. And it makes sense that you'd have to. Rick at the moment really wants to kill Negan. Like we saw in this episode, he was firing at him. If it wasn't for Gabriel, he would have probably killed him at that moment. So he's desperate to kill him. The only thing that can stop Rick from killing Negan at this point, or at that point in the future, and locking him up in a prison cell, would be if someone really close to him was to die and he would want to honour them. Because we've seen that Morgan's story is not over yet.
No, it isn't.
He's still really battling with trying to not kill and trying to kill. Like, he's struggling to it. We saw it last season when he killed Richard. We saw it even in the trailer when he's fighting Jesus, which I think is next episode. So it's definitely still carrying on. And when you apply it to stuff like this, it just makes perfect sense that it's going to be Morgan. Like we said, Morgan's probably gonna die, and his final wish will be, "Rick, I built that cell for a reason. Imprison Negan. You know, this can be the start of a new life. You can start this world over again by imprisoning people instead of just killing them." And just everything goes into it. Like, even if I'm going to quickly mention the Polaroid that Rick took using the Polaroid camera.
Definitely.
He took a picture of Negan cowering. And if you remember in season 7, episode 3, the cell, when Daryl's in the cell, they torture him by putting Glenn's Polaroid on the wall. So he wakes up and sees that, and he feels that guilt. What I think will happen is that Polaroid will come into play in the future, and he will put that in Negan's cell, so Negan can feel that embarrassment that there's a picture on the wall of him cowering to Rick, showing who's boss. And this episode shows that a lot. Shows that Rick is basically trying to toy with Negan, I think. He's really trying to toy with Negan and showing him that he's the boss. You know, you put me through this, I'm going to put you through it as well. It
makes sense in terms of the story. That is definitely where I think it's going to go. If it doesn't, I'll be very surprised. Like, it's now hinting towards it. And I think Father Gabriel also stopping Rick from killing Negan. It's a bit of a nudge there too. Probably a bit of a hint, I suppose.
Yeah. Now, one thing I really quickly want to mention as well, which David actually brought up before we done this video, is if you remember in the finale of in the premiere of season 7, when they showed the table scene. Remember there was all that speculation about the candle going out. There was 2 candles out, then there was another 2 that were lit, and they got blown out. And one was blown out by Morgan, I think. So it makes sense that the 3 people that died, Glenn, Abraham, Sasha, and the 4th person would be Morgan, right?
Possibly.
At that table. So that's down to interpretation. We're not saying that's 100%, but it can be seen that way.
So you could look into that and say anything from last season. Like, you could say, that might have not even meant anything. It might have just meant 2 people are gone.
It was coincidence.
It might have meant 2 people are gone and they've left their, like, lovers behind, which was, at the time, Maggie and Sasha. But I don't know. I mean, you could say that because if you think about it, who else is around that table? I'm expecting someone else around that table to die this season too, not just Morgan. It's possible. If it is just Morgan, then that is a kind of cool future.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just weird how he's the one who... I'm pretty sure he's the one who blows it out. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, it was a theory at the time, so we thought it does kind of fit into this, so we thought we'd bring it up.
Now we have the Old Man Rick scenes. I absolutely love these because they don't show them, like, all at once. I mean, they show them throughout the episode. The first ones we see is the cane and the flowers. Then it shows a bit more. We see an older Judith. I just love them. What I like about them the most is the fact that they're not showing us too much of it. I thought they were going to show us quite a lot. I'm not going to lie, I thought they were. I thought they were going to show us a lot of the flash forward, but it seems like they're just going with this thing like they're giving hints to the future too. Many comic fans will know when they mention festivals and stuff, it's like, wow, holy fuck. Like, I'm trying to concentrate on all that war. I don't want to think about that right now. It's scary.
So we have a lot of things that parallel the pilot. When he reaches over to the clock, obviously it's the exact same as when he reaches over and feels that the flowers are dead in the pilot episode. Now, one thing I do want to say is I don't think this is literally us seeing the future. I don't think that is like how Rick's going to look, for example, and stuff like that. There's too many things that just go against it. I think this is Rick just imagining how life is going to be after he wins the war. And it's definitely a hint to a new beginning, but it's not a new beginning. Like, I don't think it actually is. That's just the way I see it anyway. And I think a lot of people see that as well because Rick ages way too fast. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not one for going over stuff like this, but Rick looks far too old. In the space of the 2-year time jump, he looks far too old. He looks like he's Herschel's age. So I'm really hoping that it actually isn't a new beginning. It's rather a hint instead because Rick looks far too old. Like, you would not age that. I don't care how much stress you've been through, what you've been through, you would not age that much over 2 years. Like, he looks like he's aged from like mid-30s to fucking like early 70s. It's ridiculous. So I hope that isn't how he actually looks. I don't think it is. But the scenes were cool either way. I do love them. We also get a mention of a festival, which comic fans will not what that's about. Don't want to spoil it, but they mentioned the festival, which is really interesting when you actually think about what's to come with that.
It's too early, mate. It's too early.
Yeah, too early.
Now, I do agree with you saying that Rick looks a bit too old. He does, especially compared to Michonne. They actually said that on Talking Dead, and it was quite funny.
Carl as well.
Yeah, Carl doesn't look like his comic part, kind of. I see where you're going with that. But the thing is, like, if it was like Andrew Lincoln's real hair and beard, I think it would just look so much. I don't think he would look as old. Like, I don't know, it was just something the way his hair was. It's
not even, literally, all it is his hair. His hair is what if he just had like just a buzz cut, and his hair wasn't grey, I wouldn't have a problem with it, because that's how Rick looks in the comic. His hair's he's not fully grey. But you see, in these old man Rick scenes, he's fully grey. Like, as if he's really old. So that's what makes me think that, that's what makes me have a problem with it. If you just put his hair like in a buzz cut and he has, his hair's dark brown, then, I'm for it. It'll make him look a lot younger and make him actually look like his comic counterpart instead of looking really old, because he looks like he's around Herschel's age, and it just doesn't make sense. But I guess that could be seen as nitpicking. It's just a little problem I have if it is the future. Like I said, I don't think it is though, because Michonne's look doesn't add up, and most certainly Carl's look doesn't. He looks nothing like that in A New Beginning.
Well, it's just a flash forward. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so that's what I think.
it could be a flash forward. The reason why I'm going to say that now is because Maggie asks Rick about, like, do you see what's like happening after this war, basically, and he's like, yeah, I do.
So it tells us that he's been imagining that.
Yeah, like, is that what he's thinking of? But is that going to be a scene we see in the future, or is it just in his mind? It's speculation.
The last thing I want to mention when it comes to the old man Rick scenes is Judith. When she comes up to Rick, she says something about, like, outside they're building an owl for the festival or something like that. And if you remember back in season 5, Jesse was building an owl and Rick run into it. So I'm not sure if there's any correlation there. It's just something that popped out of my head.
It's definitely an Easter egg towards that.
I think it has to be some sort of hint to season 5.
But yeah, do you think Rick looks too old? It's up for debate. I mean, I think they just want to show that he's been through a war. No,
yeah, I really think
they want to show his wounds. Like, this guy's been through shit, so much shit. He's gonna look like this. I mean, I suppose
I think they put emphasis on, like, they just really show how old Rick is, just to make the viewers
aged him, the war. And
make
stuff,
it make it clear to the viewers that he has.
Well, he's been fighting since the beginning.
Yeah, make it clear to the viewers that this is way after the war.
Now we finally find out exactly how Dwight and our group are communicating with each other. It's through arrows. Now, I didn't expect this. I mean, when I saw it in the sneak peek, the first 3 minutes that they showed, I was like, wow. I love that. I absolutely love that they're sending each other messages through fucking arrows. It just makes sense. I mean, that's the only way possible to do it. And I remember thinking, like, I hope Dwight ain't going out somewhere and sneaking notes and stuff, because that'll be very strange. Like, they will catch on to that.
Noticed, yeah. So it's a really cool way of transferring like, notes and stuff, which is really, really cool.
And it looks like Dwight's been practicing, because we know that when he first started using the bow, we know he sucked.
We then hear bits of Rick's speech, nothing to really go over there. Cool speech. A lot of people said it was kind of cringy. I didn't feel like it was cringy at all when Rick or Ezekiel or Maggie were speaking at all.
Ezekiel was comic booky. He's funny.
He's meant to be.
I want more speeches from him though. I absolutely love the way Corey Payton actually delivers those lines. It's so good. His voice when he's talking. He
has that voice.
It is like when I'm reading the comic and I read like Ezekiel's stuff in the comic, his lines. It's like perfect. that his voice, Corey Payton's voice, goes so well with that. It's fucking amazing.
We then see Carol looking at the flower on the wall, which is something people noticed way back when the trailer was released.
Yeah.
Don't think it's anything symbolic of like, oh, Carol's looking at the flower, she's going to die. It's just literally meant to be her, like, looking at the flowers. It's just meant to be a reference to...
I think she's thinking of Sophia when she's looking at that, like, Cherokee Rose and stuff.
Because that's where it all stemmed when, you know, the Cherokee Rose thing back in season 2 when she was searching for Sophia. So I think it just relates back to that.
So we have Rick's speech, and then we have Ezekiel's. He says a few things, and then we have Maggie. Absolutely love her lines, because she's basically saying the world is ours, and she's come fucking far. From being just a scared woman on a farm, farmer's daughter,
that's some development
being
right there.
A leader. And Rick in this episode telling her I'm going to start following you, which we'll go over in a bit, is just amazing. I love how they developed her. There's something after that Morgan noticed, and he told me about it, and I looked back and I was like, yeah, what is that? Maybe it's just going over our heads, right? But Rick looks out, and it looks identical to the shot when Herschel says to Rick in season 2, take a moment. I think it's in Bloodletting. It looks identical to that shot, but Rick's looking out and he sees something on the hill. I don't know if he's looking at that.
I'm not sure that is, because they show this twice. He looks at this thing twice. They show it later on in the episode as well.
Close to the sanctuary?
I don't know what that is, because if you look at it, it doesn't look like the sanctuary. It might be.
The shot is identical. I wouldn't be surprised if it is the same shot as when he's looking out in the farm.
It looks like a tree, if anything, but I don't know if anyone can tell us what that is. This is probably the only thing we can't really figure out. If anyone can tell us what that is, because it must have some meaning, because it shows Rick doing it twice. Like, he looks down at this thing twice, so I feel like we're just being really stupid at the minute and it's going completely over our heads. So,
or we're looking too into it? Possibly.
Yeah, maybe we're just looking too into it, but the fact that it shows it twice is like it was put there for a reason. It's meant to be something we're meant to be looking at. So if you know what that is, definitely put it in the comments.
I honestly saw it as they're getting close to the sanctuary, so they're hitting these posts, because then in the second time we see it, Rick looks out and then he calls the car.
Yeah,
so he's getting closer. I think he's worrying about the journey on the way there, because of what happened before.
It is over the hill, so I think that could be the sanctuary.
Remember before, before when this happened, they got caught and bad stuff happened. So you see Rick kind of struggling at the beginning, but then he kind of gets more confident the closer he gets. So it could just be that.
We then get to the scenes with Carl, where it parallels the first ever episode, the first ever scene really, where Rick's walking, looking for gas, and it's literally shot from straight. They're in the exact same position.
It's
everything's really, really cool. He bumps into a new character, Sadiq. like I said, like I always say, comic fans know who Sadiq is. I'm not going to go into him because I don't want to spoil anything, but Sadiq is a character from the comics, and that is him being introduced.
He might be different. They might have just called him Sadiq because they do that in the show. Carol's not the same as in the comic. It's different, you know, so they could change him around a bit. Seems like they already have. He doesn't look like that in the comic or anything, so I'm excited to where his character's going to go. I don't know. And
it's kind of interesting how they've brought him into it now. Like, it's different. It's different. It's something I didn't expect, like, prior to the trailer being dropped, the season 8 trailer being dropped and stuff like that. So I'm all for it. I like it. But he seems to be going, like, fucking crazy because he's talking to no one. He's speaking about the Quran and stuff, but he's speaking to no one. Because when Carl comes up to him and points his gun at him, you see there's no one there. So, like, he must be losing it. He must have been out there for way too long. I think the description of his character says that he's been out there for too long. And he's not used to human interaction at all, which is why the way he deals with that Carl pointing the gun at him is like it's very awkward. Rick shoots the 3 bullets, gets him to run off. So you see that Carl's bothered by this. Carl's still not used to just letting people, like, I think Carl can tell a good person from a bad person, as opposed to Rick. Like, Rick's he's obviously too careful, and so he should be with what's happened with Terminus and everything. But Carl still, I think Carl knows when he's dealing with a good person. And I think that's why Carl walks off like, why did you do that? He's clearly no threat. Like, he's had no food. There's no way he's part of the Saviors. But Rick, like I said, is just too careful. And as seen shortly after this, Rick looks at a zombie girl, and something really cool that I think most people have noticed by now, that is actually the actress Addie Miller, who played the little teddy bear girl in the first ever episode, the pilot. They brought her back to film this scene, and we caught it straight away. That was amazing. I love how they done that.
Same makeup.
They also somewhere down the line when Rick kills a savior, they brought back another actor, another walker that was in the pilot episode. Remember when he walks at the bus? I'll put a picture here so you can see him. The actor who plays this walker, he come back to play another walker in this episode. So they went all out with throwing in stuff from previous seasons. Now another really cool thing I noticed is when Carl comes back here, he's got this orange backpack. Now, if you guys remember, this orange backpack actually came from that guy on the road, the hitchhiker who they left. He was like, please wait. And they just drove off and left him. And then later on in the episode, it was in clear. Later on in the episode, they drove back and they saw that his body was basically just gone. He was dead, and they just took his bag and drove off. So this is that bag. And I find what's funny here is Carl leaves this guy food. He gets food from that bag, leaves it there with a note saying sorry. Obviously, that's for Sadiq, and we see Sadiq looking on.
It could be symbolic from all that time ago.
Yeah, all that time ago. Noticed how they left this guy to die. Like, when they come across a stranger before, they left him to die. And, obviously seems to have a big effect on Carl.
And it's funny how he's using the same backpack and stuff. I just love that stuff.
Yeah, but this time, instead of leaving him to die, he's come back to help him. So, I think that definitely goes into when they got the backpack, compared to now. Like, when they got it, they left some guy to die. But now it's like he's trying to make up for basically leaving that guy.
And I remember in that episode as well in Clear, Carl was kind of like, he was much smaller, and Rick was this obviously leader in season 3 where everyone followed him. Now Carl's kind of older and stuff. He can go and do what he wants. I remember in that episode, I'm pretty sure Carl was kind of looking at Rick like.
Yeah, he was. He was
like, you left that guy, you know?
He's like, why did you leave that guy? So, it makes sense. It is very similar. Their mindset is very similar back to that episode, because back then, Rick was, obviously he was crazy and stuff, but he was really overprotective and he was taking no risks, no chances at all. And it's the exact same as Rick here. He's taking no chances.
I mean, obviously they're not the same person. I mean, they've gone through so much shit, but...
Yeah. But the mindset is kind of
goes
similar.
back to that episode. I fucking love that. That kind of stuff is why I love this show. So now they're getting close to the sanctuary. They're taking out all these guys that are on the way.
With the help of Dwight Snow, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course. If it wasn't for Dwight, this wouldn't be happening. Like Austin Aurelio said on Talking Dead, or was it on Talking Dead? It might have been on the panel, but Austin Aurelio did say Dwight has some balls doing that, and it's true. He does. I mean, this is a risk, big risk, and he's helping our group do this. This wouldn't come together as a plan otherwise. So first we have some guy just get shot out of like a tree, which is very cool. I didn't even notice that when I was watching it. I was like, a gunshot happened, and then you see a guy falling down. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, they just take out those. We don't really see who that is taking these two guys out. Then next we have Daryl. He takes out a guy, just drags him off the car, fucks him up, takes his cigarette too, which I thought was a cool touch. That's so Daryl. Picks up his gun, and it has like this tally chart on it, and I think that's just the guy probably taking out just numbers of who he's killed. Or
yeah,
who's
I think
killed.
He's keeping count of who he's killed probably. Yeah. That seems to be what it is anyway. There's nothing else to go off of it.
It must be.
We then see Morgan stab someone right through the chest. A lot of people had a problem with this because they saw it as, what, so like Morgan's story's come to an end now because he didn't care about killing this guy, but he does. he does. Trust me, guys, he's still struggling really a lot with which way he wants to go. And we're going to see it. We've seen it in the trailer already when he's fighting Jesus. We know it's carrying on. So.
Yeah, exactly. If you've seen the trailer, you know that the story's not over for him.
It's nowhere near over. And I think this whole season's going to be heavily based off of Morgan. We just don't know it yet because of what we said.
The future is on him, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he is a very important character.
He is. If you didn't think he was important enough already, he pretty much is the reason for the way stuff go down in the future. And you'll see what we mean by that. If our theory is correct, but it makes perfect sense.
He kind of is the only one who has that innocence about him.
Yeah, he is.
He still has that thing where all life is precious. That hasn't gone. He just knows that he knows what he has to do right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's doing this for that. He's going to lead the future on.
Yeah, it's weird because
he's going to plant the seeds in Rick's head.
It's strange. It's really cool storytelling though, because he's fighting in a war, but he's also fighting in a war in his head as well.
Yeah.
It's like it's a war in a war. So you got to think like Morgan must be thinking like his head must be all over the place at the minute. So it just adds to it. It's really cool. So yeah, he is still struggling. He didn't just kill that guy and was like cool with it. He's still struggling. We see it next episode.
So we see Rick again. He's just crossing out the list, going through these guys like they're nothing at all, going through the saviors. And he looks kind of nervous. I think he is thinking in his mind throughout this whole journey. He's thinking of the last time this happened. He was this confident and thinking about this. Like, he is worried a bit. I think he's thinking about it. It's obvious. But, I mean, once he gets the sanctuary, we'll talk about it in a bit, he really goes in. Like, he's like, you know what, fuck this. I'm here now. We're going to end this.
We then get this scene with Gabriel and Rick. Please don't kill off Gabriel. He's such a good character.
No, don't.
He's a much better character than he is in the comics. He does fuck all in the comic for the most part. But they're really doing something with his character, making him something in the TV series. So I hope they don't kill him off. But this scene's really cool because Gabriel's basically saying, like, this all starts with everything that happens starts with one person. Like, this war started because of Negan. And I guess this, you could see it in a way, like I said in our reaction, this whole story started from one person as well. Like, you could see it in multiple different ways. You could see it as this story started with the one person being Morgan. He's the one who saved Rick. You could see
then made him go to Atlanta, but then you could say it's Glenn for saving Rick.
Yeah, so there's different interpretations of it. Yeah. But the main point that Gabriel makes here is that Rick says, this isn't about me. Like, I know you see me as the person who started this, like this rebellion against Negan, but it's not about me. And then Gabriel says, but it is about you, because you're the one who's made it not about you. Do you see what I mean? So technically it still is you, because you're the one who's not made it about you. So that's a bit confusing if you get what I mean there. Basically, Rick's saying that he didn't make it like this, and it's not about him, but then Gabriel's saying that, but it is you, because you're the one who's not made it about you. So, I don't know, it's kind of a mindfuck, but I think it makes sense.
So we have Michonne and Carl. Rick basically says goodbye, and it could be the last time he sees them, for all they know, because he's going to go to war now. He's going to actually go ahead with their plan and try and keep the Saviors in with Walkers.
Yeah.
But people are talking here a lot about the scene, about Michonne saying that this is your show now to Carl. I suppose a foreshadow for the future. I mean, he is Rick's son, and Kirkman is always saying Rick's going to die one day. But that's well in the future, so yeah. I think it's just showing that Michonne has this confidence in Carl. She's kind of like, she's being that mother figure.
Yeah, she knows
We've
that.
We've always seen that.
I think she's just reassuring him that if your dad wasn't to come back, you have the power to lead. Like, exactly. I know you can lead.
So we go back to Rick. He takes out this one guy who looks like comic Rick, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Takes him out, takes his stuff. But the guy isn't dead. He lets the walker loose after the guy tells him your boy's gonna die. So you do not tell Rick Grimes that your son's gonna die. Otherwise, he is gonna
fuck you up.
Yeah, he's gonna fuck you up. Actually, not even him. He let him die in the worst way. He let him get eaten by a walker. Kind of shows you how dark this world is now. Yeah. But after that, Rick looks on. And I think it is a sanctuary that he's looking at. And he's getting closer and closer.
You see a shine on whatever he's looking at. So, I'm pretty sure it is the sanctuary. So we get this amazing scene with Jesus, Ezekiel, Rick and Maggie. They're basically just, you see the confidence. You see the confidence in Jesus. He has so much confidence in Maggie. I'm loving the friendship. Mm-hmm. It's really like seeing the comic book friendship between Maggie and Jesus come to life. We're really seeing it come to life. He has so much confidence in her. He's like, we're going to get our doctor back. Not we might, and you can see the confidence he has in Maggie.
And I love Ezekiel. Amazing. I love Ezekiel in that part when he just laughs and says yes. Yeah, I just love all that. I just love these characters so much. But the whole scene is great because before this actually starts, we see just a load of interaction between other people.
Yeah.
In that are going to war. I mean, we have Jerry and Enid at one point, and he's being Jerry. He's funny, but I love that. Like, and Maggie's super confident. This is where Rick actually tells her, I'm going to follow you. After this, like, it's crazy how much she changed. I just development is strong there. It's so good.
She's literally come from just a scared farm girl to a leader of a community, and that is just, and that's development right there.
Yeah, and she's doing this for Glenn.
And to see someone who we followed as fans for 7 years, 6-7 years, you know, saying that he's going to follow her, it's like, wow, Jesus Christ. Everyone's usually following Rick, making sure, looking to him. But, you know, he's saying, I'm going to follow you after this. We then see Daryl, Morgan, Carol and Tara all waiting for this herd. Slightly delayed, but it's just basically, like Tara says, it's close enough. So they start leading it away with the first explosion with the car, and then they go off. It takes
a minute, which that could have made you jump if I had headphones on. That would have got me.
They start setting up traps at other saviors, and we see that Dwight has, like, they have certain signals, like they're really being strategic on this. When Dwight puts out his cigarette, is the signal for them to shoot the snipers on the roof, which is really, really cool. But then we get to the real meat of this episode, which is the standoff between Negan and his lieutenants and our group, our three communities, which is really cool. They all turn up with their fucking heavily armoured vehicles, and they really bring this scene from the comics alive. It's shot differently in a way that makes more sense. Like, we'll put the picture here of how it goes in the comics, when they're all just standing there shooting in the open. I guess this makes more sense because, you know, in the comic, they could have got sniped at any point, if you think about it. They're in the open in the comics. So I like how they, like I always say, they add to the stuff in the show. It makes more sense that they're behind cover so they can't get shot or whatnot. They all fire at the same time, basically signalling for Negan to come out. It's Rick's way of saying, come on, Negan, I'm ready to fight. You brought this war, then just let's go for it.
So I love this scene when Negan comes out with Simon, Eugene and Regina, this other woman. Because Rick here, his confidence is at a high, and Negan's keeping it cool, but eventually you can see him getting more pissed off each time, especially when they start firing at him. He gets super pissed. We have really cool things here, like Rick saying to Negan, I'm just gonna start counting now, straight from last season, when Negan goes to basically tell Rick to cut the car's arm off, and he starts counting. Obviously he's winding him up. He's basically using what Negan used against him.
Yeah, he's using all his lines against him. He says that you're gonna make me count. He's using his own lines against him, and it's only until the first explosion where you see Negan know something's going wrong, because he's so confident, because he knows he has these different outposts in different areas. But that explosion lets him know that they have a plan that Negan's not aware of, and that makes Negan think, fuck.
Also,
I don't know what they're doing, and Negan's usually one step ahead of everyone. But the fact that he doesn't know what they're planning, I think that worries him a bit, and that's what gets him pissed off. The fact that they're one step ahead of him, and Negan's ego is fucking huge. He hates the fact that Rick's actually outsmarting him this time. And
he thinks that because he has Gregory on his side and he has Simon to talk into him, that he's going to get Hilltop back.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. It doesn't work. And I love when Jesus says the Hilltop stands with Maggie. Cuts Gregory completely off, the little dick. I just love that. Like, it once again showing that friendship. And even when Maggie looks back, like when Gregory first comes out, Maggie, first person she looks at is Jesus. Like, I'm loving that. It's setting it up. I think it's gonna be better than the comic, the way those two are gonna.
Yeah, it's almost like you see on Maggie's face. You see Maggie's face thinking, like, shit, are they really gonna stand with me? And then she looks at Jesus, and Jesus is like the one reassuring her, like, yes, they are gonna stand with you. You're the leader now, and that's why he says the Hilltop stands with Maggie.
Jesus is like pure Team Maggie. I'm behind.
Yeah.
So Rick's saying you're gonna make me count and stuff. Like, I love all of that, but there's one thing that Negan does, and he says to Rick, "Let me ask you something, Rick." And I don't know how many people got this. I know a few.
I thought it, as soon as we saw the episode, I thought it.
There's one thing that a previous character used to say to Rick constantly, and it was Shane. All he used to say was, "Let me ask you something, Rick."
Yeah.
And rub his head. But, I mean, those were the Shane things, right? And I don't know, was that a callback? Was that one of the things that they put in there as a callback to Shane? I'm not sure. I mean, that's really cool if they did, but that's what me and Morgan thought anyway.
There's something that's really cool here, and it's that Rick knows all of their names. And Gavin's probably thinking, how the fuck does Rick know my name? Obviously, it's because of Dwight, but they don't know that. And what doesn't know you what you don't know kind of scares you, I guess. He's probably thinking, if they know that, then God knows what they done to find that. You know, what else could they be up to? And it goes back to 701 as well, where Negan knew Rick's name from the get-go. He's like, you're Rick, right? I'm Negan. Rick's probably thinking, how did you know my name? Do you know what I mean? So it's the roles are completely reversed. He's using his own lines against him. Basically, Negan's in Rick's position that he's in 701. The roles are completely reversed. In 701, Negan has Rick and his group trapped. Like, there's no way out. And in 801, Rick has Negan trapped, and there's no way out. I fucking love how they done that. That is insane. Literally, roles are completely reversed, and you see the confidence in Rick's face. He's purposely using his lines against him. He's purposely using that Polaroid camera just to basically take the piss out of Negan and basically say, look, now you're the little bitch. You're in that position now. Let's see how you like it.
I also love how even in Old Man Rick scenes, like, I suppose you could say, I remember when Negan had the camera and he was like, I wouldn't mess with that guy, you had a beard and stuff, because he had the big beard, right? And I don't, like, Rick's grown it back now and stuff, and even showing the Old Man Rick scenes where he's grown the beard fucking huge, bigger than season 5. So it makes you, like, wonder, like, he's growing that look back. It's little things like that that go into the story. And like Morgan said, it's like the roles are kind of reversed. Even when Rick starts... See, when Rick starts shooting, they're all shooting the windows. I mean, a lot of people were ranting about that. It's a thing of having power, I think. Like, last season 7, episode 4, Service, right? There's a part where they shoot out a window in Alexandria. It's like this thing where it's like Negan's got the power. He's telling Arat to take all the guns.
Yeah,
they're all standing there in his jumpsuit with A and stuff. Like, Negan's this powerful guy, right? He can shoot any window he wants. He can do anything he wants. And here, what's Rick doing? He's making Negan feel powerless.
Yeah.
That's why he takes the Polaroid picture. Like, he's cowering. He's destroying his home.
Yeah, he's shooting at the windows on purpose. They're clearly not aiming...
It's a power thing.
They're aiming above their heads on purpose. Like, obviously everyone knows Rick could have killed him right then and there, but number one, obviously, it's a TV show. We need the villain. But I think there's more to it than that. Rick's really showing power here. He's showing confidence. But yeah, it's definitely what David said. He's showing power. He's basically showing, look, I have all this ammo. If I want to shoot your fucking windows out and waste ammo on your windows, I can do that. I have the power.
The herd's coming.
I have the bullets to do it. And yeah, and it's also to lead the herd. Let's not forget that it is to lead the herd to the final destination so they can trap the sanctuary while they go deal with the outposts.
And also, I was thinking about, I don't think Rick would want to kill Negan like that. Like,
he wouldn't.
Would Rick really just want to shoot Negan right there and then just like that? I think Rick had more plans for him.
He did.
Like, he don't just want to kill him like that. He wants to make him suffer. He wants to make him, like, he wants to see him cower.
Yep.
He wants to break Negan down, like Negan broke him down. I don't think Rick just wants to shoot him in the head.
He doesn't. The satisfaction wouldn't be there. Like, he's killed someone.
I know people could argue that and say, why not? That's just stupid. If you kill Negan,
but you've got to think of it logically, right? Put yourself in Rick's position. Say you had someone who was as close to you as Glenn.
It's too easy to just kill him like that.
Yeah, say someone you had that was as close to you as Glenn was to Rick, and that you saw this man beat him to death with a baseball bat.
In an apocalyptic world,
what would you want to do to that person?
You would want to get them and make them suffer.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to just put a bullet in their head. That's too quick, isn't it? You'd want to make them feel like their fucking world is crumbling. You'd want to make them feel like they're literally powerless.
All this is about.
Yeah. So it does make sense. Realistically as well, it's a zombie show, you can't go off realism, but I think if anyone was in that position, they would feel the same. Like, you just brutally beat someone who was a huge part of my life and a huge part of me. Like, you're going to witness this. You're not going to take the easy way out. I do like how they made Rick actually hit Negan as well, and I don't think a lot of people noticed this and they were debating it. Rick does actually hit Negan in the leg with one bullet. If you see, he is limping to the is it a car or some piece of metal that he gets behind? Yeah, he gets behind, but he is limping. He definitely gets shot in the leg. The only thing I'd say that I don't really know why it doesn't make sense is that when he's in that place with Gabriel and he's like, I hope you have your shitting pants on, he's standing perfectly fine.
He's showing sweating about being a point in his leg or anything, you know. So.
I don't know, but that doesn't really bother me. I don't care. I'm not really bothered about that. I'm glad they made him hit Negan at least, because Rick can pull off headshots from miles away, but it would be stupid if he didn't even at least land one bullet. The
comic lines are real. I absolutely love them. They're just when Gregory's saying what he's got to say about all your families won't be able to live in the Hilltop no more. It's exactly from the comic. It's identical. Negan saying and making him say things. Also, Simon pushing Gregory down the stairs. A lot of people have actually said, I've seen it everywhere, that he's showing a bit of his Trevor Phillips from GTA. Yeah. He definitely is. But also, I think Simon's under pressure. Remember, Negan gives them jobs. Give a job for Dwight to break down Daryl. Simon's job is to have Gregory there, right? That's him. Simon deals with the Hilltop. So I think Simon gets really frustrated when they rebel against Gregory.
Yeah.
And I think that's all down to Negan. Like, the pressure's on them. I can't really see Negan, though, going mad at, like, Simon. Crazy at him. I feel like there's more of a friendship there than the rest of the Saviors.
Yeah.
There's something between Negan and Simon that I'd love to explore. I hope they go more into, like...
I think they will in Negan's backstory if they do the show.
I don't see Negan ever being like to Simon, like, going mad at him or anything like that. No. I just don't see it.
So while this is all going on, we see Daryl setting up the traps and blowing them up and stuff like that. Just basically showing that he's leading the herd to the sanctuary.
Which also you could say is like kind of a little throwback to episode 1 season 6. He's bringing the herd away from Alexandria, and it's kind of the same but he's leading the herd to the sanctuary.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's definitely some parallels there. So yeah, Rick's shooting at this piece of metal trying to get to Negan, and I think we hear like quotes playing in Rick's head at the time. or you hear something in Rick's head at the time, and it's like he has a blackout moment where he's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill Negan, but Gabriel stops him and says, you know,
and to be honest, he's like shooting, he's making Negan scared, like he's trapped.
Yeah.
That's the whole mindset of I'm in control now. Like that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, Negan at that moment's probably thinking, shit, like he's not got the upper hand, and for Negan, like I said, his ego is massive. He hates that, and he hates having his people see that.
The thought of him cowering like that, if he ever sees that Polaroid and stuff, it will fucking...
It will,
I wouldn't say it would break him emotionally, but I mean... It
gets him, because his ego is massive.
It'll piss him off so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll wind him up, and that's what Rick wants. Oh, Gregory, you bitch.
Yep.
He left Gabriel behind and took his fucking vehicle, like...
Such a prick. They've got to do something about him.
You know, obviously, Gabriel tries to find his way out. He's not going to get bit, we all know that. But Negan's got him, and I don't know if he's going to die or not. We'll do a prediction video. We've got to do death predictions yet, which we'll do before episode 2. But I'm thinking he's going to be one of the deaths, and I don't want him to be, but I just have a feeling he is.
I really hope he isn't.
I don't see him getting out of the Saviour's place alive. I just don't.
When it pans out, obviously you must have seen this everywhere over the internet right now, that is definitely a parallel to the first episode, the tank. But they do it a lot, so it's
identical.
not really...
No, but that is identical to the pilot.
Yeah, when there's all walkers around, and then it just pans
It's the
up.
way they pan out. It's exactly the same.
We then see that once they've pinned down the sanctuary and basically fucked up Negan's home, they go in to attack the outposts. We see them take out one guard, Carol and the Kingdom, Ezekiel, they rush in, they try and take out this guy, but he throws a grenade. It blows up this garage, I think it is, lets all these walkers out, and we see a cool shot of Greg Nicotero, a zombie Greg Nicotero head there, which is really cool. So that's pretty much everything covered.
Yeah.
At the end, it just basically shows the mercy will prevail thing, which we went over. So overall, it was a fucking insane episode.
With all the parallels and all of the stuff.
It was just,
my favourite one that goes deep is the one with the backpack. I love that one because when you said that to me, I was like, wow, that actually goes into... from Carl before, when he was in Clear, not wanting to leave the guy behind.
Yeah.
Now he's older, he can go and say sorry and actually save people, you know, and he used the same backpack. I just love it. So
I'm sorry if this video is super long. I think it's gonna be really long, but I love doing these in-depth breakdowns, and I think from what I saw, people really did like seeing them. The people that did watch them did like seeing them and catching everything. Like, we can talk about Walking Dead forever, and going back and watching these episodes, looking at the symbolism and the parallels and stuff, what it could mean, interpretations and stuff. It's honestly one of the things I love most about the show. Like, I fucking love it. It's why we started a YouTube channel, because me and David used to do this before we even done YouTube. We used to discuss it amongst ourselves, and we said, why not just throw a camera in front of us and do it? And we done it, and it's just it's so fun to do.
Also, I'm loving the discussions on our reactions. A lot. The views have just they shot up on our reaction, which is crazy. I didn't expect that. Like the likes and stuff, and we don't really follow, like, we say like the video and that, but I mean that one was like, wow, a lot of comments discussing the episode, and it's just what we made the channel for. Absolutely love it. So yes, Walking Dead season again, and we're happy. I mean, the rest of the year is just like we're dead, and now it's like Walking Dead's back on. We're awake.
Absolutely love seeing discussion in the comments and stuff. I reply to pretty much every single comment, or at least try to anyway. So
there's 2 of us.
So if you have any more of your own interpretations and stuff like that, stuff you got from it, if you think that it's going to be Morgan to be the one who's going to die when Rick says my mercy will prevail, just anything like that, leave it in the comment section, because we want to discuss it. This is just our thoughts. We're not saying this is that, this is that. We're just saying we're giving our views on it. We're giving how we saw this certain things in this episode. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Follow us on Twitter. Links are down in the description. If you want to interact with us and talk to us about the episode, then that's the best way to do it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave it a like, share it around, and as always, cheers for watching.